Howdy, folks. Welcome to the channel, Rockin' the Country. I'm Don. I'm just as surprised as Eliyahs Romans is that I haven't done this song, even though I'm not even sure that I know it. But it's Merle's Misery and Gin. I thought for sure I had done this one, but I don't think it's on the greatest hits album of his that was one of the first 4 country CDs that I ever bought. But it's not on there. But Misery and Gin, I mean, I'm getting the sense that it's going to be he's sitting at a bar stool somewhere. But Eliyahs Romans made a gift to the channel for me to do this one. So first order of business is thank you, Eliyahs, for this gift and this request. I mean, who doesn't love Merle? And I decided to go with the live version of this one. It looked like it was a decent one. It looked to be on a channel that was safe to do it from. And anyway, let's see what we've got going here. I mean, Merle is just, good Lord, we're just so fortunate to have lived at this time. I don't know, even though Merle is gone, his music is still with us. It was recorded. We live in a time in which music was preserved. 200 years ago, it couldn't be preserved. Maybe that was better in some ways because you valued live performances differently. And just campfire guitar strumming, singing, type, folk songs type stuff. But we get to enjoy this stuff seriously in our own time, and now sort of like assess it and feel it and relate it to our own lives. All right, here we go, live from Austin, Texas. Piano, poignant.
Memories and drinks don't mix too well. Jukebox records don't play those wedding bells.
Wow.
Looking at the world through the bottom of a glass, all I see is a man who's fading fast.
Is this shortly after his accident?
Tonight I need that woman again. What I'd give for my baby to just walk in. Sit down beside me and say it's alright. Take me home and make sweet love to me tonight. But here I am again, mixing misery and gin, sitting with all my friends and talking to myself. Might look like I'm having a good time, but any fool can tell that this honky-tonk heaven really makes you feel
like you're in hell.
Like hell.
Yeah. Man, there's a lot already going on inside, noodling around in my brain in this verse. The lyrics, the way it came out of the box, man, just came out on fire and grabbed your attention. Any writer, not just lyricist, but any writer of a book, a novel, a TV script, anything, you got to grab the attention of people immediately. And, the slow percolating development, some artists, some songs, you get away with it. But I do notice, only because I'm aware of that dynamic of how quickly the lyrics hit, like boom. And the other thing is how smooth Merle's voice is here. I mean, it's showcased here. And I've also never seen Merle sing so seriously. There's a certain look on his face here with this song. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the performance. I don't know if it's the time in life. I mean, performers are human beings too. They got to have a really crappy day. Their kid is upset with them. They argue with the spouse. This went wrong. A lot of them could have lost his dog that day. I mean, anything. But I've never seen him look this. I don't know if it's serious. It's not sullen. It's not somber. But it's a combination of those three. Huh. Gorgeous.
light a lonely woman's cigarette. We start talking about what we want to forget.
Oh yeah, the irony.
Her life story and mine are the same. We both lost someone and only have ourselves to blame.
At least they know that part.
But here I am again, mixing misery and gin, sitting with all my friends and talking to myself. Might look like I'm having a good time, but any fool can sure tell that this honky-tonk hell really makes you feel like hell.
There was contrast going on in this song, and I don't know if the lyricist intended it. I'm guessing the answer to that is absolutely meant to do this, but these are details in a song that you could overlook because, really, music is for entertainment and some contemplation. But if you love deep thought, or it's almost a requirement for me because I have a reaction channel and I'm reacting and hearing songs for the first time frequently and analyzing them, even reviews, which is songs that I've heard at least once, sometimes 100 times. I hear things differently, and different parts of my life come into view as I'm reacting it to these songs and assessing them. But you could blow right past a line like where he met this woman and he's talking with this woman in a bar. The fact that they're both broken up in their respective relationships, they both acknowledge was their own fault. But he said, sitting here talking about things we want to forget. And it's like, well, to talk about something, you have to remember it and you want to forget it. So the irony, that right there encapsulates the human condition. Conflict, contrast, contradiction, where you want to forget those things, and yet here we are remembering them. And so that kind of gets into how well do we compartmentalize? Are there different parts of us? Is the heart and the mind, the brain, heart and mind different? And the philosophers wonder if you could compartmentalize so well where you could want to forget something but still talk about it. Is self-deception possible? You just ponder these things and then you exit the circle of questions and just appreciate that somebody brought to you thoughts, life experiences that even gave you the opportunity to think about those things. But I love that the two of them in the bar, the woman that he met, presumably just met her, that she also acknowledged that she was at fault. Because it's hard to admit that, depending on circumstance. Obviously, if you cheated, it's your fault. It's easy to acknowledge that. You don't like yourself for it, but that's not a tough one. But in a relationship where there were just personal differences, and you can see where you were over the top, because clearly you'd have to be over the top in some way, or way under the bottom where you just didn't care, you weren't emotional, you weren't supportive, maybe you were critical. Maybe you didn't hug her when she came in the door or kiss him, when you're going to bed, or the things that make you feel safe in the relationship and more fulfilled in the relationship. You can acknowledge those things. Or maybe you were way too argumentative. But it is a beautiful thing when people can acknowledge that it was me. I did it. Now I got to move on. You could begin the healing and the self-assessment and begin to make yourself a better person so you go into the next relationship not merely healed, but that you won't do the same things to that person and wreck your relationship. It's no different than going into business. If you have a business that failed or is failing, you don't want to repeat the same things because it's just the same thing's just going to happen again. Even though it's a new person that you're in a relationship with, if you're doing the same things, generally speaking, they're not going to like you either for those things. So Merle, though, in this one, just very, very different presentation, though, in this song, and I loved it. You know, Merle had a sense of humor, and it would show on stage, and his energy and his outlaw ways and stuff. And in this one, I mean, he was older, but what a silky smooth voice. I don't know if I've heard him sing this silky smooth before. And I've done a lot of reactions and reviews of Merle's stuff, but in this one, there was something just different dynamically about him, his presentation, and his voice. So, all right, Eliyahs, yeah, I'm surprised I hadn't done this one either. Good Lord. But there are so many Merle songs out there and so many performances, but I'll do a reaction to an artist, a A-lister in traditional country, and you folks who've been listening to country your whole life will be like, wow, I never heard that George Jones song before. And I'm like, yes, because I'm a relative newbie, only having been into it by virtue of the channel, but it's baptism, absolutely immersed, like going down to 1,000 feet in a submarine type of deal. That's how immersed I am in it and trying to retain all that I can. And I've retained a lot, but there's a lot to take in because there's so many artists, so many songs. A lot of the artists are independent. Some are the Merles, who everybody's heard of. And along their trajectory and in their careers, there are songs that you guys haven't heard too. So it makes sense that I haven't heard them all because I'm still playing catch up in another 100,000 songs. But I'll rate the feel of this performance, and it was a 9.4. It just felt different. I don't know what that was due to. Some of you folks might know what that may have been due to. Why Merle, there seemed to be a different feel. And it might have just been the song. Maybe the song after was some, up-tempo type of song, walking on the fighting side of me or something like that, or fighting side of me. And you're like, yeah, man, now he's back. He's going at it. I don't know. Could have just been that. All right, guys. You can thank Eliyahs Romans for that one. Have a great day. I'll see you on another video and keep rocking the country.
Looking at the world through the bottom of a glass, all I see is a man who's fading fast.